Good morning, everyone. It is the 15th of May. This is Nate G. We've got a ton of names in 30-minute squeezes as the market starts to recover a little bit on, sort of good tariff news, deals being made, etc. The market seems to like that. So we're pushing up and in the short term, doing a little consolidating. And this is the time to kind of jump into some of these trades. So we're going to go through and look for 30-minute squeezes and see if there might be an entry. So things like Toast. This morning, we were looking at Toast off of this lower level. This is the 30-minute squeeze. And it came down into its support level and then shot back right back up into resistance. So if you caught that, well done. But this is the kind of stuff we're going to be looking at and setting up trade ideas for pullbacks that are coming up or upcoming, right? So we're going to use SAM, and I'm going to pull SAM over here really quick. I'm in the S&P. Probably also want to look in the NASDAQ. There'll be some crossovers there. But when you sort by the 30-minute column, you get all these A-plus squeezes. There's actually more in the S&P. So I'm just going to pull this off my screen and start running through these, and we can look at all of them and see if there's anything there that we like, that we might want to set up a trade plan on. So let's start going down the road. Let's start with Ball. This morning I took a look at Ball. I was pretty interested in Ball, and then I looked at the daily chart and I thought, I don't know that I like this one that much. It could be, I like the structure here, and I like the short-term uptrend. So this could be an interesting play, an interesting choice. But I think I'm just going to move on because I'd like the things that are a little bit closer to all-time highs. You know, like a PLTR. Here's an RMD, real tight. I want more of a structure. So FITB, just going down the line. There's a high and tight. I saw this one this morning too. I mean, that's pretty interesting. I don't know that the ATR on this is going to be, the kind of move that we want. So I'm just going to kind of keep going down the list. Let's see. GPN. $80 stock. That's kind of the same as Ball. It's in a short-term uptrend, but it's kind of near its lows. So I'm gonna keep rolling. QCOM. Ooh. Kind of similar again. A lot of names that are gonna look the same. Because they're going to be kind of that market sensitive IDXX. They're gonna look like the SPY. Ooh, IDXX. Let's go BXP. Yeah, all of these are gonna look similar. RF. And then you just kind of go until one, right, hits you in the face. That would have been great earlier today, but that thing is gone or starting to be gone, on its way to being gone. TRMB. Yeah, see, they all just look very similar. I mean, any one of these could be one that wants to go. I'm going to just keep going down the line here. UPS. No, don't love that one. USB. BA. Boeing's got some juice. I was playing Boeing a little bit yesterday. GRMN. Man, that's a gappy chart, wouldn't you say? That's a technical term, gappy. Let's see, WMB. I'll look at Apple in a sec. I'll get there. Let's see, AVGO. I do like AVGO. This was another one I was looking at this morning. On this 30-minute chart, I really like the way this is setting up. How are the options on AVGO? Let's check it out. They're fine. Not too spready. We're coming up into resistance, so let's get rid of these lines. So structurally, I like this chart a lot. I actually was looking at it this morning as it came into this low. So in hindsight, that would have been a great buy. And then we're kind of creating... We'll have to see if this is a new kind of high point. I'm guessing it's going to be because our point of control is right here for this pattern. Our low is down there, and this is probably going to be what's setting up as our top end resistance. So maybe another move back into kind of a value area low, maybe at 230.60. I'm going to put an alert there. The only one thing that kind of bothers me about this is you can see we're coming up into some previous VP and resistance levels with an order block there. So maybe this is a reversal point as it happened here and rolled over. So I would want on AVGO, I would want to wait and see if we can maybe get a better risk reward entry, because my stop would be below this 228.28. And if I bought it here and I was shooting for, a target there and or a target, 1272 type extension, my risk reward would be more like, I don't know, like a 1-to-1 maybe. And I don't really love that skew right now. Yeah, it's basically a 1-to-1, and that's if you're going to up to the 1272. Right? So I'll just have an alert in there, and I'm just going to kind of hang tight. Let's see what else we've got with 30-minute squeezes. EQT. It's interesting. I don't know what EQT is. Hub. That thing's curling. Let's see. REGN. There's just so many. F. That's interesting. I'll get to the request ones here in a minute. I'm just going through SAM. NKE. Oh, that's interesting. It's quite a breakdown this morning and push. I almost feel like I want to short that. Like if I had to trade it. Oh yeah. Although that was a pretty wicked reclaim right there into that. Huh. That is pretty interesting. I could see buying some short-term puts on Nike, maybe getting it to move down back down into the 6150. It's kind of an interesting trade. Stop over this trend line here. Pretty decent risk reward. You know, stop there. Even target down into, sorry, target down into like 6150, almost a 1 to 3. Not mad at that. That's an interesting idea. What is the setup of the current chart you're checking in SAM? Um, well, Sam's not a chart. Sam is, I mean, you can get a chart from Sam, but Sam is this. It's showing me 30-minute squeezes in the S&P 500, right? And then I'm just going down the list and I'm typing them in. If you didn't have Trading View, you know, you could click on them and they'll open like that, right? But I'm just using my own Trading View and I'm listing them off as I go. Oh, the Trading View window? Yeah, this is just my TPS charts, my standard TPS charts with the order blocks from LuxAlgo on them. Yeah, that's it. That's their price action concepts. And then depending on what I want to see, I can just, I can toggle that on and off, toggle that off, and that's just my basic TPS setup, right? So that's interesting. Since PLTR broke down, I'll tell you, it's interesting. I mean, you got Costco that's just ripping DLTR, but they've come off in the last few days. I have this feeling. Let me look at the SPY. I don't know why I'm feeling short. Like I'm feeling like Nike looks like an interesting short. PLTR now looks like an interesting short, and I'm just talking a short term short. I wonder how many times I can say short. I don't know. That probably means I'm gonna get burned on something if I do. Can I explain the order blocks and why they print? What do you mean intermittently? I'm wearing pants. I just feel. I mean, this could, yeah, we could find a level, I'm sure. Yeah, you don't want to lose your shorts shorting. What are the ticks doing? I don't know. Sometimes you get one of those gut feelings. Even BSX from here, like a short-term day trade out of this order block. Even Matt says potential for a little pull. Yeah, it just feels that way to me at the moment. Yeah, I've taken my profits in PLTR on the bounce. And if PLTR rolls, by the way, and wants to stay strong, like I'm talking about, maybe a move like this back into this area. And then if PLTR wants to stay strong, maybe that move, looks like that. So we generally get retests of areas once we kind of push back through. We'll get a retest. So like when I say I'm wanting to, I feel like I want to short it at this level. I'm not looking to bring it down here. I'm just sort of looking to bring it down into that 128 level ish area and start to take profits and then see what it wants to do from there. Does that make sense? I mean, this right here is all time high on PLTR. So if it did have a little bit of a pullback, then it's not the end of the world. I mean, that's healthy. But that idea is now starting to fade as I'm seeing things push. Yeah, and the fact that it's OpEx week, yeah, that might be. There you go. That's a great thought. Is maybe that's why I'm feeling a little like I want to try and short something because a couple of these things have made some good moves today, and I just know that it's OpEx week, which generally means not a lot of follow through. Generally, that's probably where that gut feeling is coming from. Sugar Doc, the on the question on the order blocks printing intermittently, I guess I'm confused. These are where actual order blocks are sitting. Large order blocks. They usually act as or can act as support or resistance. Um, and so by intermittently, do you just mean like where they're placed, or some charts have them, some charts don't? I'm kind of confused by the question slightly. Okay, let's keep looking for something that we can do. Or was I on my 30-minute squeeze business? Okay, we're okay, Elias. You wanted me to look at Apple? Let's do that. On a 30-minute. I mean, it's got a squeeze going. 15-minute. I could see bouncing it off of anchored VWAP if it wants to come back into that. Yeah, I mean, it's a 2 dot squeeze on the 30. I guess if you're not counting the difference between, a pro low compression squeeze, it might be more on a regular chart. I mean, Apple's great. Let's see what else we have here. Ooh, snips. Snips. SNPS? No. No I. SNPS. Yeah. That's a high and tight one. MPC. That's a couple inside days. Not quite. I do kind of like that one. Although, again, we're bumping up against a temporary resistance level. That might be why I'm just feeling a little shorty McShorterson at the moment. Yeah, he has has had a lot to say about Cook, hasn't he? All right, let's see. BC 5 region Ford. Did we looked at ADSK already, right? All my stuff moved. AMAT. Yeah, we already looked at that one. Ooh, FDX. Quite the. Oh, this is interesting. The trigger. What do you mean by the trigger for TPS plays? Like, what would cause us to get in? Is that what you mean by the trigger? So basically, it's price action concepts, Fog. So FDX is kind of interesting. Does anybody else like that chart? I like this chart. I actually like this chart right where it's at. Now someone's going to mow my yard today and it's going to get loud. I like this FDX chart. Maybe we'll make a... I mean, it looks like all the other ones, but there's a little bit more room to the upside. Sorry, it's going to get loud. Yeah, are the options awful? I mean, they could be. No, they're not bad. I'd say I'd look into next week. Look into next week on FDX. Maybe the 230s. Get those for around $5. My stop would be 229. My target would be, initial target would be there. So then risk reward. Man, I would think 240 would be a nice initial target. Stop below 229. You're basically at a 1 to 4. I like that. On a 320, there's no earnings or anything coming, right? It's interesting. Certainly get behind that idea. It's right here. You see what's highlighted? Look. It's in there. Is there a way to filter SAM for stocks that have had a big drop and are now consolidating sideways? Yeah, potential. I mean, if you look for squeezes to the downside, yes. But generally, it's going to give us stacked EMAs to the upside. So you'd need an A plus squeeze to the downside, a red A plus squeeze. That's going to get you kind of what you're looking for. Excuse me, I had to use the cough button there. Uh, Flow algo and the Lux algo are two different things. Flow algo is option contracts. It shows unusual option contracts. How does toast look? It looks great. Looks great. I like that FTX play. I'm going to get into some of that. In NVIDIA, it's also in a 30-minute squeeze, but that is pushing. It's a 1 dot squeeze. Yep, PLTR is as well. Let me see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that looks good. There's just so many. I mean, ZM is already up at resistance. Snow is kind of interesting. I think MMM. No, I don't love that one. What's Voo? Oh, it's an ETF. Disney. Disney's kind of interesting here as well. Looks a little like FTX. ZM. Oh, we already looked at ZM. I'm trying to type in ZS. Man, there's just a lot. Huh. That's interesting. ETN. Car. Couple inside days there. Huh. Crazy. This is an interesting little U-shaped business. Car's kind of interesting. I don't like it up into that order block though. Makes me nervous. I mean, but all of the indices and ETFs are in, 30-minute type squeezes, SPY, Qs, and pushing those 30-minute squeezes. So a little hesitant to really jump into anything right this second. DLR is interesting. That might mean you need the next version up. I don't know. You can check out the their site and see if that's listed under the subscription you have. And then sometimes my screen just decides it wants to start playing my own voice back to me. Oh, how do I get the squeeze chart attached to the watch list over here in the bottom right? That's a Thinkorswim watch list that I built years ago that I just have up on my screen. I have a video on how to do that on YouTube. But you have to build it yourself. It's not something you can just turn on and turn off. You actually have to do a little bit. It's not hard, but you have to do a little bit of programming. Not programming, but you just have to copy some stuff in. And I'm making it sound worse than it is. The video will walk you through how to do it. Apple on the move. Let's see. Yeah, maybe get a little bounce there. All right, so the only thing that I really decided to pick up was the FDX. To see if it wanted to get going or not. So that's sort of my trade plan here on FTX is a move back up into 240, let's say. Kind of target 1 and target 2, 238, test of the recent high, 240. And, a break below 229.60 would be a stop. So that's a 1 to 4. Using next week's options, 230s. And I don't know if that's going to work or not. You know what I mean? Like, do we just find a setup that looks good and we give it a shot? Make sure that we have a good, tight risk reward. That's it. Netflix just make all-time highs. Sure did. Strong. And it's funny, down into this low down here, I was just playing like this week's options, like essentially day trading them down here. And I took them for a little bit of profit. And, this was like on Monday. And I was playing calls. Looking at it now, I was like, man, I should have held those. Whew. But I had hit my intermediary targets, and that was good enough. Toast. How long would I hold it for? Let's see. Toast. So generally, it depends on the play I'm making, right? So for me, had I picked it up when I was talking about it and bringing it up, right? Um, it would have been because it's OpEx week. So generally on like a TPS style play, which this is, we're gonna measure, this pullback, and our target is going to be kind of that 172 extension, along with, for myself, and along with, a test of the recent high spike that we're measuring from, right? So um, had I played this, I would be those would be my two targets. Now, this target on the spike high is also just a wick. So this area just below it, where the tops of, we've seen that, from a chart perspective, become a resistance point, kind of right in this 45.38 level. I'll make that yellow. So for me, if I had traded it down here in this 44.30 when we were talking about it, and we had come up into this very clear resistance level, I would have already been taking the majority of the profits off, and I would have a trailer on. And the only reason that would be my choice this week is just that we're in OpEx week, and I'm going to be pretty happy with, a full dollar move there. I would have had multiple contracts on, that kind of thing. There's always a chance it continues its move up and it pushes up into that $46 level. But there's also a chance that it continues its consolidation road. So I don't really know, but that's kind of the way I would treat it on a week like this, because OpEx just tends to be a little choppy, you know. Although if you look at Netflix, you would not expect that. Sorry about the yard care. Thoughts on Meta? Yeah, I mean, Meta looked awesome. I mean, it still looks great, but it looked really awesome through here. And now it's kind of bounced into a little no man's land. I mean, it kind of looks like a PLTR, right? PLTR looked awesome with a little spike high, and then it it sort of broke down and is starting to recover. Um, on a lot of these things, like I want to trade Netflix. I want to trade Costco like I normally do. I mean, Costco has an interesting setup here. You could see this kind of high and tight, maybe for a move more, but it's also so extended on the day today that it's kind of like, I don't necessarily feel like I want to go long right here. Um, so the overall feeling I have at the moment is kind of like, okay, wait and see another card, right? Find levels where you would want to pick these up right? This is a resistance level, potential resistance level in Apple as we come into this order block. Like if you were, let's say, trying to bounce it from down here. And it's a short term. I'm on a 2-minute chart, you know. It's not there if we jump out to a, well, it is just a little higher, if, like a 10-minute chart. Let's look at the SPY. I mean, it just kind of feels like there's just no, I just don't see a clear indicator that, you know, this is where SPY is going to turn over, right? Other than, you know, you're trying to play a, you know, a sniper turn, right? Let's say you're trying to play, you know, one of right here, right? Here we have on this sniper indicator, we have a ready aim fire on a 1 minute. And we probably have one on a 2 minute. So in that sense, sure, I could make a case for, you know, trying to play this double top for, you know, a short term put trade with a stop above this 590. Yeah, I can make a case for that for sure. Is this the level long term in the SPY that is going to roll like for a larger move down? I don't know. There's nothing clear up here that's giving me that. T best. I don't have one. A video on how to best use those. My videos are on, you know, the same indicator is used in the sniper charts, right? So for me, that's where, you know, it's a similar indicator. This is the sniper layout. I have tons of videos on that. But another component that they have are the order blocks. Sorry. So, you know, order blocks are here in the price action concepts. So I just use them as areas of potential support and resistance, just to know where there's, you know, where there's orders. And like if you're looking at the SPY, of the visible orders here on the 1 minute, you know, 63% of the, you know, visible orders are down here in this block. So if somehow we, you know, would roll over pretty hard, I would expect with such a large percentage of what's, you know, visible, that would be a pretty strong resistance, a support area. These other ones are a little bit smaller, but they're just areas that you can probably expect that you'll see, you know, at least in the short term, a bit of a bounce or rejection. That's it. BJ, yeah, I can look at BJ. I mean, BJ's had a nice bounce off of that area that we kind of marked up a couple days ago as it was flushing out. right? And this is kind of a good lesson. If you remember, you were in the room, and I'll actually use this. You know, BJ was kind of in here, and somebody asked me about it 2 days ago, right? So I pulled up BJ, and we kind of talked about this level at 107.88 was gonna, that'd be an interesting place to try and bounce BJ from, right? Because it's the kind of the value area low of this huge volume profile node over here, right? And then obviously you have to look at the chart itself and go, all right, well, so that's sort of the value area low, but we have had kind of these two, you can see these two, wick downs through that space, but immediately got bought back up, right? So if you're going to bounce it from there, you need to give it at the very least room down into to wick down into that area. But that would be anything below that and you've completely collapsed, right? And so as you see the risk reward here, trying to bounce it off that level, it came in a little lower than that level and it wicked down yesterday and back up. But that was its recovery. I believe Nate played that recovery yesterday. Now, if you're in it from, I don't know, let's say up here, playing the 30-minute squeeze or whatever, then the discipline to stop out when it broke this level here, it was bad, right? Now you're holding on and hoping, even if you're, let's say, bouncing it from here, like I don't know what the play is that you're in, but when you're trying to bounce things, it's good to have a stop just below your bounce point or your swing low, just so you don't get into a lot of heat. So I don't know if you're in profits or you're taking heat or you're hoping that it bounces back. Like I think the overall chart in BJ is this chart here. Like I'll draw a box. Right? It's this. But that's more like on a daily. Man, cost just keeps moving. That would have been a fun little trade out of that. Cost sometimes really surprises me. Like this day here. Whoops, let me get rid of that. It's a fun trader if you've got the direction right. But then if you're trying to kind of bounce it, this move was massive, right? Just all day sell off, little bounces here and there. And then today's run up is kind of a surprising move as well. But that's one thing that Costco's capable of is these outsized moves. Oh man, Costa and I are good friends. Like it bites me every once in a while, but we go way back. And then QBTS, are you... My guess is you're taking a little heat. I mean, QBTS still looks great. It's above its anchored VWAP, right? Looks great. Nice, Damien. What do I think of Boot? Let's see. What do I think of Boot? I mean, Boots at coming into kind of an interesting level. It's an earnings winner. It's kind of got that spike low there. I mean, let's see here. I mean, it's got a nice risk reward level, right? Stop below that. I mean, even a move back up into anchored VWAP is almost a 4-to-1 or 1-to-4, sorry. And then into the recent high of that initial candle would be a 1-to-6. But you just have to have the discipline to stop if it breaks, right? Um, no, Dave, no. I mean, a sniper's a sniper. Like if you get a super quick spike up, I mean, you could call that a super spike. There's no, or super snipe. There's no actual edge called the super snipe. I use 1 and 2 minute charts on the sniper. And Nate uses a different sniper indicator than I do. Both of them, they're down here. Both of them are paid. But if you want to do snipers and you don't want to pay for an indicator just yet, there is the where'd it go? This. Get rid of that. This is the free version where you're using the same things that the indicators show you, but you're just using an RSI for oversold and overbought and a MACD crossover. And you can just do it yourself, right? And so you can play around with them and see if it's something that you like. And here I'll share this chart. Close that. Save. Free sniper. Okay, I'm gonna jump off. The only thing I'm rocking with at the moment is the FTX. Man, would have liked to be in some Netflix. And some Costco. Both of them are the honey badgers today. They don't care. There you go, Fog. You're in business. Yeah, I have not done. I mean, I can do one, and post it to YouTube on the order blocks. They're just. I mean, the simple answer is they're support and resistance areas. That's it. Yeah, toss volume profile just sucks. It's the worst. It makes me angry every time I try and use it. Before I go, you Lunar. JPM, no, FDX does not have a lot of. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty darn sure it doesn't have a lot of short interest. But I'm gonna look. I'm just playing. I'm just playing it for a 30-minute. It does not. It has 1.6% short. Lunar, 30-minute. I mean, it looks okay. It's. I think I talked about this one already. It's come in and it's tested this bottom. I mean, really, you're playing. I'm guessing. I mean, I'm having to guess on what your play was. You're playing it up in here, right? And it's kind of come down into this support level and bounced at least temporarily. It looks like it's coming back up into this value area low and maybe retesting it for. This is just kind of a key area, I feel like, because it broke down that yellow line area, which would have been, kind of a support stop area if I was playing Lunar up here, like on this earnings gap up. And then we came down and tested this low right here, which is the same thing Boot is doing at the moment. Been a little bounce starting on Boot from that level. I don't know if anybody picked that up. But it's come. But what happens is you get these bounces, you get these flushes to another support area, and then a bounce back up. And what was support once it's broken now potentially becomes resistance, right? And so it's at this key level where a decision is going to be made whether it's coming up here and it's going to roll further, right, and completely break the pattern, or if it's coming up here and it's going to continue to push through and then retest and then continue its move on up. So right here where it's at right now is kind of crucial, right? If I was prone to shorting this is where I would be shorting it from, right? You get that little breakdown to this next level, back to the retest. This is where you short it for a move back into here, and you stop above this, yellow line. If I'm long, or I want to go long, I want to what I'm looking for is something that pushes up, and then the buy is here at the retest. I'm guessing since you asked, you're already in it, and I can't tell you what to do with your trade, just kind of how I see what the chart is telling me. Does that make sense? Yeah, the RAF is this guy here. That's another paid indicator. Same kind of thing. I mean, it gives you signals. It gives you an RSI oscillator. It gives you the arrows when you like the same as mine. It gives you, these are crosses, right? It's the same. It's essentially the same functionality. And again, it's the same functionality as a overbought RSI and a MACD crossover, right? It's exactly the same. It's just combining, both of these signals here into one indicator. That's all. So if you don't want to pay for a paid indicator, like the Ready Aim Fire one, that's a one-time thing, but it's like $700 or $800, right? I think this one here. And then the Luxalgo one is, just a subscription-based thing. So less money in the short term, but the longer you have it, I guess the more it ends up costing. Yeah, I found that the ready aim fire just gives a little a few too many signals. And I found that this other one in my Sniper Pro stuff works a little better. I mean, it still gives false signals because it's just going on, indicators. So if you want, I put it in here earlier, but instead of taking the time to scroll all the way to the top, I have a playlist of videos that are all sniper related. Okay, so there's the free sniper. There's the what do you call it? There's the Sniper Pro. There's how to set those things up. In the description, there's links to the different charts and indicators. Did that post or not? That's weird. Did that post? Oh, no, it didn't. Hold on. And then I'm going to jump off because I know Nate wants to get back on before we're out for the... we're all in the market analysis thing with Kareem and JC. Okay, let's see if that posts. There we go. There's your playlist if you want to learn all about the snipers. There's probably 15 videos in there. Ooh, thank God. Fast is on the move finally. That's the longest. I like to day trade, and these, I mean, I've been in fast for quite some time. Like, I was in fast in here, took profits in here, was trying to rebuy here, added here, and these are all out to like June. And it's just now finally moving. That's great. It's good to hear. Because I was getting real bored with it. Have you ever just cut a trade out of boredom? I have. You know what? I'm bored with this. I'm tired of looking at it. All right, I'm going to jump off. Never. You ride your trades to the bitter end. Yeah, it's like, you're like, I don't know why I got into this in the first place. It's moving at a snail's pace. Yeah, I'm going to take a small loss, but good Lord, get this out of my account. Tired of looking at it. It's taking too much mental capital. There you go, see? Sometimes when you're out far enough and it's not broken, like I'm not saying just because you have an option that's out a month or two that you should hold through a broken chart. That's not what I'm saying. But just because, a lot of times you'll see, or you'll get that further out option, and as long as the chart is still intact, it just sort of pays to wait. Not always. Sometimes it breaks down, but you know what I mean. I am going to jump off. I'm going to let Nate come on, and I will see you all later.